So we're here today with Andrew Spannaus. He's the author of the book Presidency, and he's speaking today about Trump and the American presidential elections. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
First, just like to know, what are your thoughts on Trump's recent decision to choose Indiana Governor Mike Pence, given that they've had different decisions and different votes in the past?
I think that Donald Trump has made a decision to go a little bit towards the Republican Party, the establishment of the party. His instinct naturally is to do something which is more outrageous, which is more outsider, but in this case he went conservative, so he picked someone who's part of the party. Now he immediately seems to regret it, that it's not such a strong pick, but for him it's a question of a delicate balance of trying to be an outsider but getting some support from within the party, and that's why I think he chose Mike Pence.
Great. So there's the Never Trump faction that we've heard about a lot that recently was defeated at the Republican National Convention on the floor. How does that undercurrent of thought that's still very present within the party affect the elections going forward, in your opinion?
It can have a big effect on Donald Trump. Of course, his appeal comes from the fact that he's not part of the traditional Republican base, the traditional Republican Party structure. The base obviously does not agree with much of what the party bureaucracy has done over the past 20 years probably. So his goal now has been to maintain his momentum as an outsider. Now the Never Trump faction comes from people who say, well, Donald Trump isn't a real Republican, but he's changing what it means to be a Republican. As a matter of fact, on the Democratic side, we see a similar thing. On both sides, we have a shift from a Democratic-Republican split in the U.S. electorate to more of an establishment outsider split.
So that undercurrent of political thought within the United States populace, how does that relate to the right-wing parties that are taking shape in Europe of today?
There's obviously similarities in the sense that it's a reaction against what has been a failed policy, in my view, mostly on the economic side, but also in terms of foreign policy. And people are more willing to listen to more radical, to use a common term, more radical politicians when they're upset about the way that the political system is working. However, it's a different system. The United States is a different system. And if you look, there are many things that Trump supports now that many years ago the Republican Party used to support, just as many things that Bernie Sanders says today used to be supported by the Democratic Party, even by the Republican Party. A good example is Social Security.
Right.
The main parties want to cut the budget. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders don't.
And what do you think is his greatest weakness at this point? You spoke about his outsider status being at times both a strength and a weakness. Is it that, or is there something else that Trump's going to need to overcome to have success in the general election?
I think his problem is that he hasn't proven he can control himself. This is a very serious problem because winning the primaries is one thing. Then in the general election, you have to show that you can be president. And he, for the first month after the end of the primaries, he has not organized his campaign well, in particular in terms of campaign structure around the country. He has not stayed on message. These are things that for a normal candidate would be lethal. For Donald Trump, maybe they won't. As a matter of fact, he's coming back up in the polls. However, I think he has not convinced people in the power structures, even those people who are open to him as a change, he has not convinced people that he would be able to be president. He doesn't have a lot of time left to do that.
Right. Well, that was our final question, but if you'd care to make a prediction on the result of the race.
I think it's unlikely that Donald Trump will win. Hillary Clinton the Democrats in general have an advantage, significant demographic advantages, and also organizational advantages. However, Hillary Clinton is fully capable of making mistakes, serious mistakes, and it would be foolish, as has already been done for many months, to consider this election in terms of your normal parameters. Things are changing. There's a realignment in the electoral system, and anything can happen.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.